Hi, I'm Dr Saahb, and today I'm going to show you the facelifted Mercedes-Benz A-Class hatchback and saloon. This is the facelifted 2023 Mercedes-Benz A-Class A200 Executive Saloon and A180 hatchback. In this video, I'm going to show you what the car has and what are the options. Don't worry, you will not need to memorize everything I say because I have made a summary sheet of what features the car has. Please check out the link in the description below. I will be making a separate video on how to use the main features of this amazing car. Big thank you to Lucas Mercedes-Benz Wolverhampton for helping me make this video possible. So the A-Class price starts from £31,905. The A-Class has had a facelift. A-Class was new from 2018. Usually for models like this, they are completely revamped. After 6 years of production, by around halfway of its life, at 3 years, a facelift is introduced, but probably due to COVID, it was delayed to now. The first time I saw this car, I did not think it was a new model, but when you really look, you will notice the power domes, which makes the car kind of look like a CLA. LED lights are standard, which can dip their lights as you're driving. The light design is a single LED line when it's on. The multi-beam lights are available only on the Premium Plus, which adapt their lights to the driving conditions so they can corner and they do less glare on signage. The lights have 18 individual LED lights. Now, Mercedes stars are in the grille. The pre-facelift one used to be pins in the grille. This car is the pre-facelift, so you can see the lights are slightly different in the shape. The LED light strip, you've got a kind of diagonal thing happening here, and then you've also got the pins in the grille. Both cars in this video are the AMGLine. You can get a Sport as well, which gives the car a more traditional look rather than this really sporty and aggressive styling. So the Sport will be a bit more rounded in terms of the design here, and then the wheels are slightly smaller in design. One thing I've noticed is the front design of this is a bit different to the pre-facelift. You'll notice here it's smoothed out. Let's have a look at the pre-facelift. So this is the pre-facelift car. You can see, I think it looks a bit more aggressive, the old car does. What do you guys think? But you've got this finish here as well, which I think is really cool. The wheel designs have changed as well. Check out my summary guide, which shows you the pictures of what those wheels look like. You can see this car has got these Bridgestone tires, and the tire size is 225/45 R18. On the rear again, Bridgestone, and the tire size is 225/45 R18. So the wheel design looks kind of similar to the pre-facelift, but you'll notice this one has got the gloss black finish on the inside. So this car has got the night package, which they'll probably introduce in the near future for the facelifted A-Class. But because it's brand new, they introduce that in about a year's, I'm guessing, time. But you get the gloss black finish on the wheels, on the trim, also on the beltline strip, and also on the mirrors, which gives the car a really sporty look. I think I'm really starting to like the look of the saloon as well. There was a launch edition which looked really nice with some really cool gloss black alloy wheels. I've got a short video on that if you want to check that out in the A-Class playlist. Also check out my summary guide, which also has the dimensions on the car. Apart from that, from the outside, it looks fairly similar to the pre-facelift model. It does look really nice. Now the saloon has the larger boot capacity on the car. Let's have a look. Use my leg to open the boot, or trunk as the Americans like to say. You can see it's a really good space. I can fold the seats by using the handles here, and I've also got some storage underneath. I'll show you how to use these folding rear seats in my next video, but you can see the seats will fold down a 40-20-40 split, so they can go down individually as well, which is really useful. The Saloon has the larger boot capacity at 395 litres, but if you go for the plug-in hybrid, then you will get less space at 345 litres. Let's check out the A-Class hatchback. So the A-Class hatchback, you can't use your leg to open the rear, but it is keyless, so I can use my hand. But you can see straight away you got a better opening compared to the Saloon. 345 litres for the diesel and up to 350 litres of boot capacity space for the petrol engine. Also, you do get this parcel shelf which comes off from the tags here, and then you just pull it off. Also, just like the Saloon, you do get the 40-20-40 split, so the seats can individually fold down, which is really useful. And again, I'll show you how to do that in my next video. Moving to the front, both cars are keyless, so I can open the car keylessly, and you'll see the electric folding door mirrors open up as well. Both features are standard, which is really cool. The space in the car is pretty similar, apart from the roof in the Saloon is a bit better. So sitting inside, you do have more space. The interior is lovely. Looks very similar to the pre-facelift, which isn't a bad looking car. Now moving to the Saloon, let's check that out quickly. Interior doors look the same. Both cars get the armrest. Just a bit more spacious in the inside, so for taller passengers they'll find this car more comfortable. You've got storage nets behind the seats. You've also got the grab handles. The interior still feels very similar to the pre-facelift, which isn't a bad thing. It's still a very nice interior to sit in. Headrests are adjustable as well. You've got your tether points at the top. The hatchback doesn't have the top tether points like this car up here, but you do get it on the back of the seat in the hatchback. You also got your ISOFIX as well. Now let's check out the interior of both cars at the front. Let's check out the A-Class hatchback. Looks very similar to the Saloon, apart from these sports seats, which have the fixed headrest, but you get the lumbar support as well. You get the extended support on your thighs as well, which is really useful, and the lovely Artico leather finish on the outside, and then the Alcantara finish on the inside of the seats, which I think is really nice. You get the best of both worlds. That's the same for the back seats as well. You get the brushed aluminum pedals, which come only with the AMG line. Let's check out the A-Class Saloon. So you can see it looks very similar. You've got a button now here to open the rear tailgate, or the trunk, as the Americans like to say. You can see the front of the interior mainly looks the same, apart from you've now got the traditional seats rather than the sports seats like the AMG line hatchback. Everything's the same, with the Artico leather on the outside and then the Alcantara finish on the inside of the seat. And just like the hatchback, it's the same on the rear. The Sport will get similar seats like this with the design, but you'll get just a plain Artico leather finish rather than the red stitching, and I think the stitching might be white as a guess. The only other difference is you just get a bit more headroom in the rear for rear passengers for the Saloon. Now the price has increased on the A-Class, but one thing to note, I think it's like £31,905, but one thing to note is that you get more equipment as standard. All of the main features that you need come as standard. Electric folding door mirrors, you get the 64 colour ambient lights, you get heated seats, You get DAB radio. You even get wireless charging. My iPhone 14 Pro Max will fit here as well and charge, which is really useful. You get parking sensors, and the car can even park itself. Let me know in the comments if that's a feature you want me to show and how to use. Reverse camera as well, which is a really useful feature to have. But now on the A-Class, they have introduced 360 camera, which means there are 4 cameras around the car. It is an option. I think it's on the Premium Plus. So there's cameras at the front and the back, but also cameras on the mirrors as well. And what that does is gives you a bird's eye view of your car on your screen, which is really, really cool. You can check for things like curbs much easier using the 360 camera. You get things like keyless go, where you can open and close the car keylessly and even start the car keylessly. The keyless start was standard on the previous generation, but keyless entry and keyless locking was an option. Now the biggest screens, they used to be an option. Now they're standard. The previous car, I think you had to go for the premium package, but now these screens are standard in the UK, which is really, really cool. Apple CarPlay is now standard. On the previous generation, it was an option from factory, or you could get it through the Mercedes-Me app, but there was a charge to pay for Apple CarPlay. Also, privacy glass is now standard as well. I think privacy glass was standard in the previous generation, but it is a very useful feature to have, especially if you have kids in the back. They're not going to get the sun in their eyes when they're in the back of the car. You get 4 USB slots in the car, including 1 in the rear, 2 in the armrest, 1 in the center console, which glow now as well. There's even a 12-volt socket just hiding here. No traditional USB slots, but you can just get an adapter. Check out the link in the description below for an adapter that you can buy separately. One thing I noticed on the seats, you don't get the depth support on the seats for the passengers. So only on the driver's seat you do get that extra cushion for the driver, where the seat will extend this part, just like so. Now in the pre-facelift, you used to have a touchpad here. They've now got rid of that, and the only way to control the screen is by using the touch controls on the touch screen, or you have got the touch controls on the steering wheel, and you can adjust the controls like so. I do think I might miss the buttons that used to be here in the touchpad, only because I don't like touching the screen. As you can see, when I turn the car off, you'll see all the fingerprints. You can't really tell on camera the fingerprints. I think I might get used to using the controls on here, but it's one of those, you know, when you get used to something, it's kind of hard to break the habit. But I'm sure after a week I'd get used to it. You can also say, "Hey Mercedes,
how can I help?
Heated seats on."
Seat heating is turned on.
And then if I want to switch it off, I can just say, "Hey Mercedes,
how can I help?
Heated seats off."
I'm switching off the seat heating.
So there are workarounds. You can use that function to do a lot of things. So please try that out and let me know the weirdest things. If you do have one of these, if you're lucky to have one of these, let me know what's the weirdest prompt that you've given for "Hey Mercedes." Now the previous generation A-Class used NTG6, but now the new generation is using NTG7 software, and now you get something called zero layer. Screens are basically better, the software is better on this, and it just works a bit easier. I think the previous one was a bit it got a bit confusing, where you could go up and down, and there was lots of options. But now they've simplified it, and you can see it's just left to right, and if you want to search for something, you can enter your sat nav destination there, and then it's just really simple. Now check out my next video on how to use all these main features, where I'll show you how to use this display as well, and you can see it's all just a bit simpler. A bit less customizable. This screen, you know, you can change things like seeing the radio or even the sat nav, which I actually prefer. But you can have a more sporty design, or you can have an understated design. And you can see the theme of the car changes to a more relaxed theme, and this might be more useful when you're on a motorway. But again, check out my other video where I go in depth on how to use these features. Preset themes for the driver is really, really nice. The previous model, you could customize these screens and you could change that to that side, and there was a lot of customization, which was really cool, but I think it got a bit confusing. Now they've simplified it and just created themes, and it's really easy just to go back to the original settings by just holding the back button, and then you're back to the original settings where you get the mileage as well. So it's really easy, really simple as well. You can now get heads-up display, which is an option. If you go for the Premium Plus, then you'll get the head-up display, which will appear on your windscreen, which is really, really useful. It'll only be in your eyesight, so nobody else will be able to see it in the car, but you'll get things on your windscreen that display your speed, your revs. You can change the height of it, the brightness of it, and only the driver can see it. I'll try and get my hands on a car that has Premium Plus that I can drive, and hopefully I'll be able to show you that really cool feature. The only other thing you get with the Premium Plus as well is the electric panoramic sunroof, which is lovely to use. So I'm not sure what the options are like in different countries, but in the UK, if you want the electric panoramic sunroof, you need to go for the Premium Plus model. The sat nav is really easy to use. Everything's logical and it is foolproof. But again, I will show you how to use this in my next video. Augmented reality is an option. As you're driving, you'll get the actual road appear on your sat nav screen, pointing to which part of the road you need to go to. It's really cool, really useful, and I will try and get my hands on a car that has that option. I think it's the Premium Plus that gets that, and the Premium. You can now connect two phones at the same time. I think the pre-facelift did that as well, but the really useful feature is now you get wireless Apple CarPlay. Again, I will do a separate video on how to connect your phone to that system and a quick look at how that looks as well. But it does take, the Apple CarPlay is now full screen. On the pre-facelift, it was a smaller screen, and I think the main reason Mercedes-Benz did that was because they wanted you to use the MBUX software rather than Apple CarPlay. But now I think they've listened to the customers and they've realized that a lot of customers want to use Apple CarPlay, Android Auto on full screen. So fantastic. So I'm really happy with that, and I think Mercedes have listened to their customers, which is a really good thing. Now the AMGLine gets a flat bottom steering wheel with red stitching, and the Sport gets a more traditional round steering wheel. The old steering wheel used to actually have buttons. Now you get these kind of plasticky finish. The buttons are actually easy to use, but you can see it just gathers a lot of dust. So if you do get one of these, be prepared to get cloth, and you might need to change it every week or so just to get rid of all these marks and dust. That's only one criticism I have. I don't really like the gloss black finish, but if I was to own one of these, I would just keep a cloth on the side, just here. Keep a cloth in the driver's side, and where I can just quickly wipe all of these marks, because it is prone to dust as well. The controls are easy to use. The old steering wheel with the buttons, they were nice. They felt expensive. And if you're not bothered about these upgrades, then the previous generation A-Class, the pre-facelift, is a fantastic car to buy. It's probably a good used bargain. Other manufacturers that you might be considering to buy are the Audi A3, the BMW 1 Series, VW Golf as well. That's a good car. Now in the UK, you can only get the Mercedes-Benz A-Class in an auto, which I think's fine. I prefer an auto. If you're not used to an auto, please check one out, test drive one, and see if you like it, because I think it's a game changer. I prefer it It's much easier, you know, when you're driving on a day-to-day basis. Something like this, you're going to be driving constantly and you just want it to be relaxing as possible. So an auto is very relaxing. Now the hatchback engines, I have done a summary guide on all of this, so please check that out in the description below. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe as it helps me and the channel grow. Please like this video. Also comment if you have any suggestions or questions. Check out my next video where I'll show you how to use the main controls of this amazing car. Thanks again for watching.